Hello and welcome to Voice TV Nigeria. First, we will say compliment to the season to every one of us, and we believe that the next year will be a progressive one for all of us. Today we'll be discussing a topical issue that is in the front burner of our polity today. The youths are asking questions, and we feel it is the right time to get an input from one of that group, someone who has exposure both home and abroad, one who has been in the corridors of power, and one who is a businessman, even at a young age, and is a politician, even at his young age. Today we'll be taking a visit to the house of the former governor of Bauchi State to speak with one of his sons who has an interest in the business of the family, which is one business, and the second one being politics. We'll be speaking to the Yuguda Foundation member of the family. Join us.
Hello, and I am Muslim Isa Yuguda here with Mr. Muhammad.
Thank you for having us over. We believe as one person who has an interest in polity and business likewise, with a very strong exposure, particularly with the time you spent in the University of Huddersfield. I'm sure you've met a lot of youths, you've rubbed minds, and coming back home to the business of our polity, I'm sure you'll be able to have two ideologies or different ideologies from different people, and we'll feel your input in what is going on, particularly amongst the youthful community of our polity. You know, feedbacks and general perspective. You'll be able to share with us what you know and what you feel could help progress our people and together progress the nation, Nigeria. I'll start off this way. The Nigerian youth have always had this thing in their minds that they've been marginalized, and that the relationship between them and the policymakers have been strained. Do you share this assertion that it's a deliberate attempt to probably put them aside while policies are being made based on your exposure and feedbacks?
Well, first of all, I feel the youths are not ready. Well, you cannot say all youths are not ready, but majority of them are not ready. Because if you think of it, the youths are the majority. We have the highest number of population in the country statistically. And secondly, when it comes to input in anything, when it comes to business, politics, and civil service or public service, I say the youth are the majority. But then the youths are not ready to play their role in government. Not only in government, but also in the private sector. Why? Because the youths are always waiting for somebody to help them. They are not ready to help themselves. I feel the youths need to engage themselves in activities of politics. They need to stand up and, start up businesses, stand up. The youth are only thinking about, I want to work for this. No, I want to be under this. I want to be under this. No. And there's one thing about the youth that's depriving them from going up. One thing about them is that all they think about is money. No. Life is not about money. First, you need to build a reputation, which is the most important thing in life. So the youth need to realize the importance of reputation. And secondly, the youth need to learn how to be independent. The youth need to learn independence, which is very, very essential in our country, most especially in Nigeria. The youths in Nigeria are used, most times they are used as political touts, they are used as just to manipulate elections, they are used, the elites are using the youths and dumping them. They are not doing anything for them. Like now, for example, let's just look at the 2019 election. When we go there, most INEC officials, they are youth. Most, most policemen, the civil defense, all of them, most of them are youth. And when it comes to the people that are actually going around with posters and media and anything, let me just summarize it. Most people that are very, very influential in elections are youth. If they are youth, why is it that the youths are not ready to contest political offices in Nigeria? Why don't they have the courage? Because most youths, the mentality of the youth are, if you don't have the money for this, you cannot do this. So I believe the youth need to remove their money, thinking about money mentality. I don't have the money to do this. No. They need to put money aside and have a courage to make an impact in the country.
Wow, this is really disheartening coming from someone who is close. Now, I feel on the last word, this is what I'll ask you. What do you think a Nigerian youth, coming from one of them, in Nigeria you should have as a skill set to make himself a proper person and be able to embrace a progressive idea and progressive innovation towards the nation build? Because once you can't be a good person, you can't give good. You have to have good inside for you to give good. So what's your advice for a proper youth projection?
Actually, I call upon all my fellow youths to have faith, because faith is the most important thing. If you don't know God, if you have forgotten God, God will forget you. So that's the most important thing. And secondly, you need to know what you want in life. You need to know where you are heading to, and you need to have a plan. And you need to be when you know where you are heading to, you have a plan. You should not sit down and just watch. You should actually stand up and fight. You should fight for what you want. You can't just sit at home and say, okay, I'm waiting for what I want, or I'm thinking of this, I want to be here, I want to be there, I want to be appointed this. No, you have to actually go for it. You have to go for it, and you should have faith. So I believe that what do you need to learn is that firstly they should learn to plan, because most youths don't have a plan. They just flow with the way life. They are
more follow trends rather than have a focus towards what they want.
Yeah, they don't know what they want. So they should have a plan. They should know what they want, because you see, planning is most important. I read in a book, it says that you'd rather have a very useless business plan than have no business plan at all. So you can see how important a plan is. So you need to plan your life. You need to actually know what you want. You need to know your aims and targets. And when you know those aims and targets, you should know what you need to do in order to achieve those aims and targets. So I call upon you to plan their lives. And when you plan, you should go for what you want. You should fight for it. You shouldn't be scared. You shouldn't be scared of no. Yes, if I want something from you, I'm not going to be scared if you are going to say no or not. I'm going to go for it. But most people won't come at you, Muhammad, and say, I want this, because they are scared maybe you are going to say no. But me, if I want something, I'll go and ask you. So you need to learn how to. You need to have the courage. So that's just it. You need to have a plan. You need to be courageous. And you need to fight.
Right. Here's this. Having said that, I will start off with that. Coming from someone who has actually had interactions with people, both the high and the low in the society, do you think there's a way education plays a role in youth development in Nigeria?
Yes, because like a white man says, knowledge is power. You see, when you don't have the knowledge, you won't be able to contest. For example, if you don't have the necessary qualification, you cannot run for any political office. And let's not talk about politics only. Let's talk a little about the private sector. You see, when you don't have the knowledge, you cannot start up. You will not know what to do to start up your own business and be independent and run a business successfully. So I think education is key, and we need to, the Nigerian government and the state government need to focus on improving educational institutions. because the system of education in Nigeria is broken. It's not the way it is before. It's not the way our fathers and our grandfathers did. So I think education is key.
Now, but you mentioned education, which is really, really vital for any person's self-development.
Yeah.
You went to University of Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Do you think, if you compare that to the Nigerian education system, do you think it's a deliberate attempt to actually shortchange the youth, particularly from inclusion and equitable distribution of power and assessment to power?
Well, so you want me, you said about...
No, comparing it, if you compare
yeah,
both,
you want me to compare
because the system, because I feel the system over there, people say organized.
Yeah.
It gives a level playing field for anybody, anyone to succeed. But here you mentioned education, that is actually a prerequisite for a person to be able to develop oneself and be able to contribute to society. Our education system being said that it's broken, was it deliberate from your own assessment to affect this generation of youth coming? Well,
that's something that I always try to reason. Why is like that? I always try to investigate. I always try to know why. Why is it that our fathers and grandfathers had good education in Nigeria, and unfortunately for us, it's not like that? Look at most of these big men. They attended ABU Zaria, University of Maiduguri, University of Jos. And where is ABU Zaria today? Where is the University of Jos today? Where is the University of Maiduguri today? Because I'm still trying to find out why. I'm still trying to find out why our education system is not the way it is in the 90s. And it bothers me a lot, because education, like I said earlier, education is key. Yeah.
So really, and what do you think, from your own assessment, is needed, is a drastic thing to do to change this problem, this negative that we are in our education system, to a positive one? Because the truth is, there's no time that is late for us to redirect our focus through the right path. So what can we do by your own assessment?
Well, my own assessment is that I read a lot in newspaper, and I found out that the government are focusing on building schools instead of them to focus on improving the current ones. If the government can put its resources to improving the current educational facilities, our education system is going to be better. Instead of building, maybe let's say, for example, what state are you from?
I'm from Kwara State.
You are from Kwara State. Let's say in Kwara State you have secondary school in every single district. Why is it that we just don't have, we have a single secondary school in every single local government, and it should be standard? Do you understand what I mean? It should be standard. It should be international level, in which even if foreigners will attend the institution. Not that we just go and building schools anyhow. The Ministry of Education, and I call upon the minister and the president to focus on improving our current educational facilities, not adding, because when you add building more educational facilities in Nigeria is a liability to us, because we just have to spend more money managing. But instead, we can use the little to improve the little, which is more efficient. Would you rather have, well, that, I'll say that on the other hand, that has a disadvantage, because less people get education. But I believe I'd rather have very good 100 students than have 1,000 students that are useless. So I believe the little we have, we should focus on the little, and we should improve it.
All right. Now, having said that, do you think we have, there's no student, there's no proper professional without a good mentor or a teacher? I'm asking you now, based on your assessment and your interaction with a lot of friends you have back home, do you think we have the right teachers and mentors in all sectors that will help? Because no youth just comes up with all the ideas. You need to be mentored. You need to serve to be a leader. Who are the people we look up to? Do you have enough of them?
Let me tell you, see, country? I'm happy you came to, you brought up that question. You know, the thing is that I always reason, why do we have a problem in this country? The problem is not with the people or anything. It's from your home. So firstly, parents of little children need to stand up on home training. This home training you're seeing is the most crucial thing you have, because it's like a building. The foundation is the most important part of the building, because without a foundation, the building will collapse. So I believe home training is what people, the government need to raise awareness of having a good home training for our children, because if you don't have a good home training, you cannot go anywhere. So when you have a good training, when students from home are being brought up the way it's meant to be, you see, everything becomes easy for them. They tend to, there's a certain age in life at which there's a certain age in life at which you know whether this thing is right or wrong. Nobody has to tell you this is right and this is wrong. So I believe home training is the most important.
Let's say if I decide to be into politics and I want to look around, because usually if you read Nigerian newspapers or the television, it's usually a negative of one elite that you think is a role model or another. So I'm saying, do we have enough teachers and mentors that are progressive minded enough for us to build this nation and build self?
So you see, the problem is that the employment in Nigeria is very bad, that teachers aren't employed the way it's meant to be. You are meant to be employed based on your requirements, based on your qualification, how good you are, how good your profile is, how good your CV is. But in Nigeria, is who you know, not what you know. So that is the problem when it comes to having good teachers, because most teachers that are employed in Nigeria are not employed because they are good. They are employed because they know somebody, and that somebody wants to help them.
So it's basically compensation rather than competence.
Yes. So when it comes to mentors, I think Nigeria has failed in producing mentors, because for example, now I can count the people I look up to, but in Nigeria there are many, all of these men you are meant to look up to are not role models. They are just people who are selfish, that they don't care about their people, they only care about themselves and their family. So is that people you want to look up to? It is not 100%, but the majority is like that. So I believe we don't have mentors.
This is a bonus question, which is the last before we say bye-bye to our audience. I've listened to you speak the last 15, 20, 25 minutes. Even with the privilege you have, you come off as someone who doesn't believe to enjoy the family fortune. You rather want to be independent. You want to fight and be your own man. And it's a rarity we see amongst the people of the elites that we have around. What changed that mindset for you to be your own person, for you to not be solely dependent, because you feel the foundation has been given to you and the rest is yours to take? Why did you change the narrative?
You see, firstly, like you said, the foundation has been given to me. So when it comes, like I always tell you, home training is essential. So when you have a good home training, and you see that home training you are saying also has to do with mindset. You usually train your mindset in what you see at home, what they do. So basically, me, I in my life, it's not that I grew up to see people doing what you grow up to see is what you are going to do. So in my life, I grew up to see people being independent, people being hardworking, people that have plans. So that's the kind of environment I was in. So that is why I am not being proud of myself or anything. That's why I tend to be very, very independent, because I grew up in an independent society, an independent environment. So all my uncles are independent, my mom is independent, my mom is working even though she's a woman. It's very rare it's very rare for a Hausa woman to work at this point in time, because
and be married to even someone of fortune with the fame and all of that.
Yeah, so you see, so I grew up to see everybody independent. So, and one thing that motivates me the more is the fact that my mom is working. She's working regardless of who her husband is or who her father was. Even though her dad was very wealthy, but she grew up to be an independent woman. So if she's going to do that, why won't I do that?
Thank you for actually having the time to speak with us. It's been a wonderful discussion. We believe with what you've just said, it will improve the minds of the people listening, particularly the youth, to critically think through what they want in life and see how much they can add their own quota to what nation building is. From Voice TV Nigeria, we say thank you for having us over.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed.
And we believe next time we will call upon you to have more discussions towards nation building. You will allow us your audience.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure having you.
It's been a wonderful time with Muslim Isa Yuguda, a son of a wealthy man who still feels being independent, struggle through life like every other person, is the most honest way to make money. He's a businessman, he's a politician who is armed with enough education to fight through life. He's saying, do not look at what he has, but fight like every other person fights, and together we'll be able to make a better Nigeria. Thank you for being with us. Always click our notification button and the bell so you know a lot about what Voice TV Nigeria has in stock for you. My name is Mohammed Jinadu. Always be with us. Thank you.